We have a consensus in this country, on the left and the right alike, that in some form free markets are the best way, right? There aren't any real communists in American life, right? And so the question is, how much free enterprise do we want? How big a welfare state do we want? And so on. And so a lot of the arguments I end up having are very practical arguments about the outcomes of the slightly larger welfare states in Western Europe versus the outcomes we have in the United States today, sort of growth trajectories over the last 30 years. And this is probably part of why I'm so concerned with the practical dimension, right? Because I think in my engagement with readers and so on, I'll have a lot of readers say, well, sure, I buy into Adam Smith, right? I buy that. But I also think that, we can sort of have our cake and eat it too, right? We can have the benefits of competition, but we can also have, more effective government investments in the economy, how Barack Obama is always citing the Transcontinental Railroad and so on, and we can have a much more robust welfare state than the U.S. has traditionally had. And so a lot of it those arguments boil down to performance. What is the trajectory of Europe versus the trajectory of the U.S., and which model do you want to be living in for the next 50 years? And I think the answer, is the American model, but I think it's an answer, that it requires sort of detailed statistical elaboration sometimes, as well as just sort of philosophical foundation laying.